High school basketball playoffs. The regionals are set for this coming Saturday, so we'll talk about that as well. We're talking high school basketball, high school hoops. Our lineup runs down like this. Robert Duck at South Central. He's the girls coach there. They had a great season at 20-5. Rob Maloney at D.H. Conley, the boys coach there. We're going to talk with him, talk with Chris Cherry, the fine coach at South Central for their boys. And then Larry Wilford and Perry Tyndall. Wilford for Farmville Central, Tyndall for Kinston, and they could be headed for a regional showdown. But we'll talk about that later on in the back half hour. This is the Brian Bailey Show, kicking off your sports week on this Monday. We're back with more after this.
Hey Pirate Nation, this is Holt Nailers for my friends at Arc Point Labs. Just as I trust my teammates, you can trust Arc Point Labs to give you quick and accurate results for all your laboratory testing needs. If you are in need of COVID testing for your return to school, work, or for travel, Arc Point Labs is offering same-day PCR and antigen testing with little to no wait time. Please visit any of the 6 Eastern North Carolina Arc Point Labs locations or make an appointment now at onehourcovidresults.com. Go Pirates!
East Coast Grading and Utilities is your source for clearing, hauling dirt, and concrete work. East Coast Grading and Utilities handles all sewer and water issues as well.
I'm David Vaughn. Whether putting in a new subdivision or helping you with any and all of your drainage problems, I can get the job done. Call me at 531-7494.
No job is too big or too small. East Coast Grading and Utilities. Friends helping friends. 531-7494 for East Coast Grading and Utilities.
The Rick House is Eastern North Carolina's premier American-style restaurant and bourbon bar. Join us at the Rick House for mouth-watering steaks and made-from-scratch pastas. Check out the 16-ounce cowboy steak or the seafood delight pasta. Join us for our legendary brunch on Sundays from 10 to 2. The Rick House can feed your larger crowds with off-site catering and room for 125 in our adjacent banquet hall. The Rick House, American Provisions and Spirits, 710 Red Banks Road beside the bowling alley in Greenville.
This is John Gavigan with the Gavigan Agency. Our top priority is doing what is best for our members. Whether you are buying a new vehicle, a new home, protecting your family with life insurance, or filing a claim, our agency will be there every step of the way. Our goal is to become a trusted advisor for you and your family for all of your personal and commercial insurance needs. Give us a call in Greenville at 756-1400 for a car, home, business, or life insurance quote today, and give us the opportunity to show you the benefits of doing business with someone who cares.
Sear Chop House is Greenville's only true chop house. We're open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Seared combines a remarkable menu with an unrivaled atmosphere. Lunch or dinner at Seared is a quality-driven experience where we highlight a thoughtful approach to locally sourced ingredients and hearty, flavor-rich cuisine. We're firing up the grill at Seared, Greenville's only true chop house, located on Fire Tower Road at Bells Fork. Come see us at Seared for lunch or dinner 7 days a week.
This is Brian Bailey, host of the Brian Bailey Show, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to the Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, working for our community, not for shareholders. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back on this Monday as we talk high school basketball tonight. Several teams fell in the third round. Others had a chance to get another win. They advanced to the fourth round on our way to the regionals and, of course, the state finals coming up a week from this Saturday. We tip off our show with Robert Duck. He's the head basketball coach at South Central for the girls. They had an outstanding season at 20-5, and Coach Duck is also the golf coach, and he's got a golf meeting to go to very shortly, so we'll hold him just for a few minutes. But, Coach, first of all, congratulations on an outstanding season. I know it came to an end in disappointing fashion, but you had just a wonderful year, didn't you?
Brian, I appreciate you having me on today. Yeah, we had a good year. I was proud of the girls. I was excited to work with them every day. They came in with great attitudes and hard-working mentality, and good things take place when you work really hard sometimes.
You know, one of the things I really enjoy about what I do for a living is you know, when we go to a game and we've got the camera and we're trying to create, you know, the game story with video. And so I was in your huddle the other night, and it was E.E. Smith and South Central, and you guys were in a close game. I got there midway through the third, so it started the fourth quarter, and you told the girls, you said, look, we got to get 3 stops. We got to get 3 stops in a row, and if you give me 3 stops, we'll win this basketball game. And so I took that in the back of my head and started shooting the start of the fourth quarter, and then you guys get a bucket and you get a stop. And I said, well, there's the first one, and then there's the second one, and then there's the third one, and pretty much that was the ball game, wasn't it?
It definitely was. We pride ourselves on the defensive end of the floor, and good things happen when you play hard on the defensive end of the floor, and we got those 2 stops, and she had to call a timeout because the game was getting a little bit away from them late in the game, and then we came out of that timeout, and I challenged them again to get 2 more stops. And the defensive end of the floor, when you take pride in the defensive end of the floor, I think good things happen, especially in girls basketball, because sometimes that's your best offense.
Yeah, that's what my next question was going to be. How hard is it sometimes, not only girls but guys as well, to buy into defensive basketball? Because everybody wants to shoot, everybody wants to hit the three. They want to score 20, 25 points a game, but defense wins championships. How hard is it to get girls to buy into defense?
Well, when we're in a fortunate enough situation as we are in South Central with some talent and a group of girls, that bench solves a lot of problems. So if they want to play, they understand that they have to play defense. That's a non-negotiable. And once they figure out they got to play defense to play, they start to buy in and try to learn how to and try to figure out different ways to get on the floor because at the end of the day, all these athletes want to play. And there's a lot of talented athletes out there, but the ones that play defense are the ones that are going to get the opportunity to play often and early, especially here at South Central High School.
Take us through the Rocky Mount game a little bit. What was the difference in that game? What were the Griffons able to do to get past South Central?
Well, they were tough. They were physical, especially on the defensive end of the floor. That 2:00 start time maybe got to us a little bit because we started very slow. I didn't think I didn't think our antennas were up. I didn't think that we were locked in early on the play, and we ended up getting down 17-5 in the first quarter. And your third round, you're on the road in a hostile environment, and the third round and down 17-5. It's challenging to come back from a deficit like that. And we stuck with it. We got a little bit better as the game went on. We ended up winning the last 3 quarters, but it wasn't enough to win the basketball game, obviously. But we had a chance. I mean, we were down 6 with 3 minutes left to go in the game in the fourth quarter, and we were out without our point guard. She went out with the injury in the early fourth quarter, and things just didn't fall our way. But give credit to Rocky Mount. They were tough. They were tough defensively that night. They made it hard for us. But that's where you got to do your work early in the season, because I think we let a couple games go before Christmas that we should have won, and if we win those games, I think we get to play at home. And when we play at home, as you know, Brian, that in that Falcons nest, it can get rowdy in that gym. And if we play at home, I think we're ready to play, and we start a little bit faster. And at that point in time, I feel like it would be a different outcome as well.
And that's one thing I credit South Central. I credit Conley because they have Farmville Central as well. They have great guys teams and girls teams, and the crowd comes for the girls as well. I mean, as you said, it gets rowdy in there, but it's not like the crowd just kind of shows up for the guys' game and happens to watch the end of the girls' game. They're there for the girls' game as well. And that's because you guys put on a good show.
I believe so, and I give credit to them, and we try to do things for that community for sport and that student support, and it's unbelievable when you have we had 3/4 of that section filled up at the beginning of a game, and they're on their feet, and they're yelling and they're screaming. It makes a difference, I mean, because there's not a lot of atmospheres that these high school girls play in at this level, and when they get into an atmosphere like that, it can rattle you a little bit. I think it had an effect on E.E. Smith at times.
Before we let you go, talk about your Kayla combination. You've got Kayla Friend, Kayla Smith, 2 outstanding players.
Oh man, they're great. They're great people first, and that's what I'm most proud of, is because they are really good young ladies. I've had the opportunity to coach them both since they were freshmen here at South Central, and Kayla Friend has been a 4-year starter, and Kayla Smith has been a 3-year starter here at South Central. We're going to miss them tremendously as they graduate this year. But both of them are going to have opportunities to go on and play basketball at the next level if they want to, and help pay for that education. So that's a blessing. That's a blessing for them and their family.
All right, Coach, I know you got some duties in golf coming up. You got that meeting to get to, so we certainly appreciate your time. Congratulations on an outstanding basketball season, and get a couple of birdies with that team of yours today.
We're going to try, Brian. I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate all the support. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Robert Duck, the head basketball coach for the South Central Ladies. Now we go to D.H. Conley, another outstanding team that fell in the third round with the Conley Vikings. And Conley really had just the battles with South Central and sharing the big Carolina 3A, 4A championship. Rob Maloney now joins us to talk a little bit about his ball club. Coach, I know you're disappointed, but when you look back at this season, it's got to be very rewarding.
Oh, yeah, Brian. First of all, thanks for having me today. And, it's always great to be on and being able to talk and share great things going on at our school. And but, yeah, what a wonderful season we had this year. We came up on the short end against a very good Cleveland team, and nothing to be embarrassed about. Cleveland's, 29-1, and their only loss is to Conley. We played them back in December, and we're able to win a very tight game there. And, again, Saturday night we play them at Conley, and what a wonderful atmosphere we had. And we were up 9 at halftime, and just second half ran out of a little bit of steam. Cleveland's a very deep team, and a couple of breaks went their way and ended up losing by 9. But, again, nothing to be ashamed of, and just a wonderful season and a great tribute. We're only losing 2 seniors this year, in Deontay Joseph and Trey Clemens, and but a great tribute to their leadership and their loyalty to our program over the last 4 years.
Enjoyed watching you guys play all year long, and really, when you play a team like a South Central and you kind of get thumped the first time when you're playing in 2 games within a week, and it's basically for the championship, and then to come back and rally and to get that victory and share the championship, I mean, that's got to mean a lot to you.
Oh, it does, and it says an awful lot about the character of the kids we have in that locker room. Anytime you talk about a South Central team, Chris Cherry is just first one of my best friends in coaching, and secondly, just does an awesome job with what he does, and especially his defensive approach is just amazing. And they do such a good job of rattling your cage on any team. And when we went over to South Central and they beat the brakes off of us, we really did not do a good job of keeping our composure. I felt like we had a good game plan going in, but you step away from that, and then when you get to watch video and seeing is believing, and when the kids can answer the questions for you and say, well, what do we do in this situation? Instead of, myself or Coach Lebo pointing our fingers, we're letting them tell us, and they had all the right answers. It was just a matter of getting in that environment and handling the situation with poise and confidence and carrying out that game plan, and that was the big difference in that second game.
Were you surprised when you looked up that South Central fell in the third round as well?
I was. Again, obviously I hold them in high regard and great respect.
Yeah.
And at the same time, anytime you play a Rocky Mount team, athleticism is. I would love to have been there because Rocky Mount year in, year out is so athletic, very similar to South Central. And Mike Gainey, Mike Gainey has done a wonderful job his entire career at Rocky Mount Senior. So can't say I was surprised, but I did think South Central was a team that would probably go a little bit deeper than they did.
With your ball club, you said you had 2 seniors, so you got to really be excited about next year.
Yes, and do not get me wrong, they both were starters and played big roles on this team. Deontay Joseph was a combination guard. In fact, they both were. At any point, you could have seen Trey or Deontay run in the point guard position, and the other one would just fall into the wing or shooting position for us. And so don't get me wrong, it's going to be hard to fill those positions, but at the same time, we have a lot of building blocks coming back. You talk about an Isaiah Crumpler, which all of our Pirate faithful are very familiar with the Crumpler name, and anytime you have a Crumpler on your roster, you've got a chance, even if you're playing cards.
That's right.
But you bring Isaiah Crumpler back, who was just a tremendous defender and a tremendous leader for us. Cooper Markham, who's coming back as well. And I often talk about these kids because they're all multi-sport athletes, and that's something you don't see a whole lot of anymore. And I'm really proud of at Conley. We have a large number of multi-sport athletes that, it's old school. And so we're very excited about the near future.
And, you talk about multi-sport athletes. The only way you can have multi-sport athletes is to have coaches that cooperate with one another. I know you guys have some, great cooperation going on, football, basketball, baseball, with coaches that have been there for so long and are just generally good people.
Yeah, well, and you're right. I mean, we haven't had a lot of turnover through the years at Conley, and that goes a long way with our overall success. And, Nate Connor and Jason Mills, myself, we all work well together. We all want to see each other succeed. And the old school mentality, there are things that kids will learn on that football field that I might not be able to teach on the court, and the same could be said for the other way. I'll give you a very good example of this is you take Bryce Weaver, who is one of Conley's top offensive linemen, obviously, and Bryce has now got an offer from East Carolina in football. And I think Bryce has really made great strides, and I can't wait to see him in the fall as an offensive lineman just because of what he's learned in basketball, the footwork and the constant speed of the game. I think that's going to make him a deadly offensive lineman for Coach Connor in the fall. So, yeah, we're very lucky to have a coaching staff that really cares and really wants to see each other succeed.
And, of course, when you're the AD and you're the boss, you can tell them what to do, right?
Honestly, I don't do it. We just try to, like you said, try to all be team members and help each other out. Conley is an interesting place because we're the only real traditional high school in Pitt County now. We're the one lone school that doesn't benefit from any kind of open enrollment. So what you have is what you're going to get. And so, like the old school approach, you really have to share your athletes.
You really do, and that's interesting you say that because, so many times, that you see different things and kids can bounce around, and that just doesn't happen now at Conley the way the thing's set up, and that's a disadvantage in some ways, but it's almost like an advantage in some ways too, isn't it?
I think so. And and you're kind of going into one of my statements I made after our game against Cleveland Saturday night, and I thanked our seniors for their unbelievable loyalty to our program in a time where kids bounce around like popcorn kernels in a cooker. These kids remain confident. They remain loyal to your program and to your school, and it really creates a community feel. And I love it. I'm very thankful of it. I hate that we're in a day and time where kids bounce around like there's a transfer portal in high school. And I'm not saying that about Pitt County. I'm just saying that in the overall general sense, statewide and nationwide. There's something to be said. There are a lot of life lessons learned when you have to just, instead of flying when things go wrong, but sitting in there working hard and working for a greater goal than it's just your individual goal. It goes a long way into adulthood.
Well, one of your great athletes was going to play for you this year, decided not to. She was in a play, but she said she would come back next year, but she's graduating, so you're going to lose out on Bella's talents. But she still says she could start for you, so...
Well, I can use her on the wing. I have no doubt. And I see her speed in the hallway, so I could definitely take her.
I'm sure you see that speed when she's not supposed to be running. All right, Rob, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for joining us. We certainly appreciate it. Congratulations on an outstanding season. Hate that you lost, but I think you'll look back at this one as a championship year in the Big Carolina 3A, 4A, and you had lots to be proud of.
Well, I appreciate it, Brian, and I thank you again for the name, the Big Carolina, for it. You did a great job.
Yeah, we got to figure out. Somebody told Troy that he didn't like it, and the only one Troy knows is you and Coach Connor. So I think Coach Connor may not like that name, but I'm still trying to figure it out.
I think you deserve naming rights on it. So
I think so. The Big Carolina 3A, 4, and it's proven to be like that. Football season was incredible in that conference, and I think basketball this year, the Jacksonville team struggled a little bit, but and Havelock a little bit. But if they can get things turned around, but in football, man, I'm telling you, Nate Connor and those guys every night they look up, man. That's a playoff type game.
And our basketball league is very sneaky good, though, and yeah. I don't think it got the credit it deserves statewide. I talked with First Flight before they played Jacksonville. They were just curious. They just texted me, what do you think? And I said, get ready, because Jacksonville's, they're a very tough, well-coached team, and Havelock's the same way. And sometimes, your football program goes late in the season, so you don't know what your team looks like until January. And both of those coaches did an absolute great job down there. So I think the future in this league will be very bright in basketball.
Yeah, I saw Jacksonville late in the season, and they were tough. That was a tough out, most certainly. All right, Rob, thanks so much. We're going to take a commercial break right now on the Brian Bailey Show. Coming up next, Chris Cherry from South Central. Later on, Larry Wilford and Perry Tyndall. Wilford from Farmville Central, Tyndall from Kinston. Back with more of the Brian Bailey Show on this Monday after this.
Hi, this is Jeff Charles, and this is a Pirate Radio Sports Break presented by Ron Ayers Motorsports, Highway 11 north of the airport in Greenville. Cliff Godwin's Pirates last night shut out North Carolina 5-0, salvaging the third game of the series. ECU is now 2-5. The Pirates are at Duke tomorrow afternoon at 4 at Durham Athletic Park. Joe Dooley's Pirates don't play again until Saturday afternoon at Wichita State. ECU beat Tulsa for the second time this year on Saturday, 64-59. Sophomore guard Tristan Newton had 27 points to lead ECU. The Pirates have clinched a winning regular season at 15-13. Wichita lost at Memphis yesterday, 81-57. The former Virginia Tech Hokie Landers Nolly had 22 for Memphis. In other AAC action, number 14 Houston 75, SMU 61. Greenville's Josh Carlton 19 points and 8 rebounds for the Cougars. Temple beat Tulane 75-70. Kinston's Damian Dunn had 19 points for the Owls. This has been a Pirate Radio Sports Break.
The Angus Grill is your premier spot for the best burgers, cheesesteaks, and brisket sandwiches around. Join us for our unmatched variety of burger combinations, from the mushroom bacon Swiss burger to the jalapeno popper burger to the original Angus Classic. Pair that burger with our amazing onion rings, tots, fries, or sweet potato fries. Angus Grill, with 4 amazing locations in eastern North Carolina, including Winterville near Pitt Community College, on Jarvis Street in uptown Greenville, and on Statensburg Road near the hospital. It's the best burger around, guaranteed.
Hey, this is Troy D., proud ECU grad from the class of 94. And if you know me, you know I love the 90s here at ECU. It was some of our glory days, including bowl games, the Peach Bowl, and even a March Madness appearance. Relive those days with my friends from Tailgate Classics. Tailgate Classics is a cool retro store with all types of merchandise, including the 90s ECU vintage tees and hats. Check out Tailgate Classics in person, 304 Evans Street, or online at shoptailgateclassics.com. Tailgate Classics, bringing back the throwbacks.
The icy treat that can't be beat is Sparky Snowballs. From big kids to little kids, Sparky Snowballs has been making smiles happen for over 20 years. If you're not in the mood to chill out with a snowball, Sparky's funnel cakes and fried Oreos are a perfect Sparky-licious treat every time. Are you having an event, party, or fundraiser? Call Sparky's to come on site. Remember to follow Sparky's on Facebook or visit SparkySnowballs.com to see where they'll be next.
Although innovative new resources such as digital media and social networks have grown in popularity, smart marketers recognize that printing is a mainstay.
We live in an age of computer hacking, scams, and fly-by-night businesses, so it's reassuring to consumers when they receive printed marketing pieces.
It exemplifies business confidence and conveys a high level of commitment.
It also fosters trust, which leads to engagement and ultimately brand loyalty.
When you're ready to grow your business, come to PIP, where business goes to grow.
Pirate Radio!
Pirate Radio.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community-owned utilities mean local control, low rates, and high reliability. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back on this Monday. Congratulations to Pirate Baseball. East Carolina with a big 5-0 win last night over North Carolina. The Pirates dropped the first 2 games to the Tar Heels in Chapel Hill and came back on a cold, wet night last night. And those fans that braved the elements last night, they deserve a lot of credit as well. But East Carolina comes up with the victory. Off to a little bit of a slow start, obviously. Not the start Cliff Godwin would have wanted, but plenty of baseball to go. Duke next up for East Carolina on the road, and then East Carolina back for the LeClaire Classic coming up. So big time for East Carolina Pirate Baseball. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And if you're undefeated right now, it doesn't mean anything if you don't win down the road. So Pirate Baseball set for a big weekend coming up as well. Again, Duke coming up tomorrow. All right, we continue talking high school basketball today on the Brian Bailey Show. Next up, one of the best coaches around for years and years is Chris Cherry, the head coach at South Central. His Falcons lost at Rocky Mount, or to Rocky Mount at home the other night, 66-48 to bow out of the playoffs. But Coach, I know when you look back at this season, like I just talked to Rob Maloney, you'll have lots of pleasant thoughts about this year, won't you?
No question. Especially after not having fans last year, to have fans back in the gym was a welcome change.
When you look at the game against Rocky Mount the other day and doing some research on it, you guys were down 4 to start the fourth quarter. What happened in that fourth quarter? How did Rocky Mount get such a lead on you guys?
We actually got it to one a couple possessions, and we just couldn't throw it in the ocean from 3. We were 1 for 19 from 3. They had a quick 5-zip run at the beginning of the fourth, and then playoff situation, you get a little tight. We had to start gambling a little bit, and they got some bust out layups. But take nothing away from them. Rocky Mount has a really good team, and we wish them nothing but the best.
How'd you like the Big Carolina 3A 4A this year? Because you guys put a whipping on Conley late in the season, and then Conley came back and won the second time. So you guys split the regular season championship. But as we were talking with Rob about it, the teams in that conference, and he said they were sneaky good at times.
Oh yes, it was a welcome change from the conference we've been in the previous 8 years. We had some good teams, some good players. Really couldn't get a rhythm. We had a bunch of rescheduled games late in the year, but all in all, was a success.
How hard is it when you're trying to play a season and you've got the mass situation and you're trying to practice and then you get a couple of cancellations? And how frustrating was that sometimes?
Man, these last 2 years, man, they probably added 5 years to me. But you got, as we got towards the end of the year, you got really able to just concentrate on basketball. And like I always say, you never know what you missed, man, till it's gone. And so we were just glad to be able to get back on the floor and then progress to not having to wear the mask. And so hopefully things will get better in the future.
Yeah, I think we all do, and I think it's like we see signs of improvement, and then something else will happen, but hopefully we're on the back end of all of that. How about your ball club for next year? What have you got coming back?
We graduated six seniors. Really excited about our young kids. We had four sophomores up. Got a couple juniors coming back, and we had a really strong junior varsity basketball team. So we're excited to get back into it in about 3 or 4 weeks.
How hard is it when you're building a program like you guys do there? I mean, it's obviously it's what you have to do to get to have success in a program. But how early on do you see some of these kids play? Do you see them in middle school and bring them up from there?
Oh yeah, you got to put your eyes on them early. Get a look at them. Of course, then you hear who's coming, who's not, and so you just try to watch them as much as possible. Try to get them in the gym, as soon as you can. Once they hit that the summer of their 8th grade year, coming to becoming a freshman. You got to get them in the gym as soon as you can and get to work with them.
Chris Cherry, head coach at South Central. His Falcons bow out of the playoffs this past weekend. When you look at Rocky Mount, do they have a chance to go all the way?
Like I tell everybody every year, you don't have to be the best team. You just got to be the hot team. And, they're playing really well right now. They have really good size inside. It'll be an interesting matchup with them at 71st tomorrow night. 71st has good size inside, too. So, like I said, that'll be a really good contest.
How much fun was it for you, Coach, to have home games this year at South Central with the crowds that you guys were able to bring in? The band was out there, and it really was a festive night when the Falcons were playing at home at the Falcons' Nest.
Yeah, man, we really missed it last year. Like I said, you don't know how much of an influence and impact it has on the game until you're in there with only 25 people, And so it was just great to have them back. Our fan base is rabid. Our band is great. Our students are great, and our community is great. And so we were just glad that they were able to come back.
When you look at the future for South Central, you said you have all the seniors, but you sound like you really like what you've got coming back.
Oh yeah, we're excited. We like to say, tradition doesn't graduate. And when you can have a 20-4 season, split a conference championship, and people say you had a down year, you've built something special.
There you go. That's Chris Cherry, the head basketball coach at South Central. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. We certainly appreciate it, and best of luck in the future. But we certainly enjoyed watching your team play this year.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
That is Chris Cherry, the head coach at South Central, joining us. Right now, we'd like to move on to Farmville Central. The Jaguars, the back-to-back defending state champs, and they are right in the wheelhouse right now to maybe win another one. Larry Wilford joins us now. His Farmville Central Jaguars set to play in the 4th round coming up on Tuesday night, and then perhaps the regionals if they can get by on Tuesday. But, Coach, first of all, 25-3 on the year. Got to be very pleased right now.
Yeah, we're just happy to still be playing, Brian.
You know, when you look at the matchups you've had so far in the playoffs, you know, when you're playing teams that you don't see every day, you really haven't had a scare yet. But what do you think about it? You get a lot of tape, and do you study it all, or is it more about Farmville Central?
No, I think for us, the playoffs are about your opponent. I mean, we are who we are. We're not going to deviate from what we've done up to this point as far as Farmville Central basketball. So a lot of emphasis is placed on the opponent, a lot more detail in the scouting reports. And we try to build it up as the year goes on, so it's not like, you know, catching guys off guard the first playoff game. So there was a build up to it. But here, all the emphasis is put on the opponent once we get in the playoffs.
You know, one of the great runs last year was the underdogs from Farmville Central going on the road all those games, just because the seeding was such the wacky way they did it last year, and you guys did have to go on the road a bunch. But how much fun was that for you last year when you went on the road and won all those games?
Well, I think the guys embraced it. They never one time complained about where we got seeded. Control what you can control, and that's hard to do for teenagers, but they bought into it and they embraced it.
All right, what do you know about St. Paul's?
Very good, very well coached. Guy was an assistant at, you know, a couple of different Division II colleges, Fayetteville State and UNC Pembroke, so he definitely knows what's going on. Actually recruited some of our guys back from the 2016 state championship team to go. You know, he was in several of our playoff games there as a college assistant coming to recruit. Good guard play. They have a 6'8" kid, slender. Some stuff we haven't seen recently. You know, when we played in the John Wall, you get to see a little bit of everything as far as height, talent, so to speak. But it's been a while since we've seen a 6'8". Just looking forward to getting after it tomorrow night.
All right, it's Farmville Central and St. Paul's coming up tomorrow night as the Jaguars get set to host a 4th round matchup. And then a win there sends you to the regionals. Now, I texted you earlier this morning because in doing homework for this show, I cannot find any information at all about the regional finals. You know, who's hosting, you know, what's going to happen. So I sent you and a couple of other coaches texts, and I got, you know, we're not sure, maybe, you know, the higher seed. You said you were expecting an email. Have you gotten that email yet, and what's the latest?
No, we have not. As of right now, the last thing that I was told, you know, several weeks ago was that the higher seed would host. But I've been told that the High School Athletic Association, they have a set attendance number that your gym has to hold. And if your gym does not meet that threshold, then they have to move the gym to a larger venue. The game to a larger venue. So I don't think the state was, from what I was told, was going to be happy about some teams being able to host and then other teams having to play at a neutral site. So I think they were going to make everyone play at a neutral site. I think COVID's kind of wreaked havoc on some of the contracts that they normally had in place with places like Fayetteville and ECU. But, you know, Brian, I'll be honest with you, we'll play it wherever they tell us to play it. That's something that we can't control, and I'm going to stick with my motto of control what we can control, and the only thing I pretty much sometimes have control of is Farmville Central basketball.
So basically what you're saying, it doesn't sound like Farmville Central can host because of the attendance, you know, how much the gym can hold. Would they move it to somewhere like a Rose High for the gym, or are you thinking that maybe they're trying to get East Carolina back involved and Fayetteville back involved?
No, I think it would be a high school site. Actually, our gym does meet the criteria. It's that I don't think they like the look that would be if, you know, Brian's team had, you know, a gym, say similar size of Green Central, and they were a higher seed, and they would move them to a different gym, so it'd be they could have more fans, but Farmville Central, if they were to win, would be able to host
the games.
I think they wanted to be fair across the board.
Yeah, and that's going to be difficult at this late date. I mean, I would think that if you're trying to find a neutral site for everybody to play at within a week, it's kind of one of those things. I just think of it on the calendar for a long time.
Well, with me saying that, enough to win, Wednesday they might come out and say we're having it at Farmville. So I don't know.
That's kind of funny that
whoever wins tomorrow night will have to play somewhere Saturday.
That's right. It'll be somewhere on Saturday. We're just not quite sure where it will be. Larry Wilford, the fine coach at Farmville Central. Does it ever get old for you guys? I mean, when you start the playoffs, it's kind of like it's old hat, for your Jaguars. And the expectations, I know, for you are, hey, we want to win the state championship, and I don't know if it would be devastating if you don't, but obviously everybody puts their uniform on, thinking, okay, we got to win this round to advance to the next round, to advance to the regional finals, to advance to the state championship, and win another state title. We want to put, especially the young kids, hey, we know what it's like. We want to put our name on that banner.
Yes, I would say that that's the case here at Farmville Central, is that the standard has been set, and I told our guys the other night is that what you can do is you can raise the standard. Let's not fall below it. Let's try to raise the standard, and that's kind of been what we've talked about each round of the playoffs, and knowing that you can't get to step 3 or 4 without getting to step 1 or 2, and each round is the most important game. And I think our guys have played really well. I've been very impressed with our defensive intensity, and every year our teams have had something's been a little different about them. This year I think this is our best defensive team we've had since I've been here, and we've got some really good defensive teams, but I just think that might not be the best offensive team I've had, but I think this is the best defensive togetherness we've had.
Is the way to beat Farmville Central to get them in a half-court game and try not to turn the ball over, and to try to force Farmville Central to have to run an offense to score?
I don't think so. I'll be honest with you, our practices are brutal. They're competition-based. We do a lot of that. A lot of our second team beats our first team a lot here in our practices. So I think I would hope that we're pretty well versed on about any way anyone can play us, because we've seen a lot. And a lot also goes back to who you play in the summer and who you try to schedule in your non-conference. Do you take the road less traveled and play someone who could possibly beat you? And that's what we try to do in the summer. We lost this summer to New Hanover. We went 13-1 this summer, and we lost to New Hanover in the finals of the Final Four of the ECI, which is a great summer basketball tournament in Jacksonville. And then who you scrimmage. I like to go on the road. We haven't scrimmaged here in probably 15 years. Our last scrimmage was against the number 1 ranked 4A team in the state until they got beat the other night, which was New Hanover. We did a 2-hour close scrimmage, and it was war. I mean, you don't want to use the word war now with what's going on, but it was very intense, is what we needed, I think.
And really, when you look at the John Wall, you had some losses this year, but you didn't get into the John Wall with a healthy bunch. I mean, you were struggling with some injuries, and that kind of pays dividends later on, doesn't it? Yeah,
we lost 3 guys in one game, the second day of the John Wall, and 2 of those were for an extensive amount of time. We had a kid break a nose and another kid fracture a foot. So a lot of young guys got thrust into the playing time and the starting role, and everything changing for them. And our next game was Archbishop Spalding out of Maryland, which is a perennial powerhouse, and they actually absolutely smacked us. But after that, I thought those guys, we got better and better every day in practice, and I like what we have now as far as depth, because those guys have played meaningful minutes.
All right, a Farmville Central win and a Kinston win would put the Jaguars up against the Vikings. You guys beat Kinston earlier this year. Do the guys kind of look at that and say, hey, these are the 2 best teams in Eastern North Carolina, and they need to play again?
I'll be honest with you, our focus has been on each round. The other night it was East Carteret. They had really good guards, and we knew they were going to be playing with a lot of emotion because of everything that happened down east. And then tonight, tomorrow night, our focus is on St. Paul's and, film work and walkthroughs and just being as prepared as possible for what they can expect. So there's been no word of Kinston or Burlington Cummins come out of my mouth or any of our assistant coaches' mouths.
Kinston taking on an undefeated Burlington Cummings ball club, and we'll talk with Perry Tyndall from Kinston coming up in just a few minutes. The one black eye on the schedule this year has been some of the fighting in the stands. What can we do to get everybody on the same page that we can't have that, because the kids deserve better than that? What can we do what can I do as a sportscaster? What can we do as a community? What can you do as coaches and athletic directors? I mean, nobody wants that, but how do we get around that?
People got to be better. Just got to be better people. I will say that coming out of the pandemic, across the board, there's been a lack of respect among just adults in general that I've noticed. I've seen it in the school system. I've seen it traveling to places to play. We've kind of taken a black eye on the social media aspect as far as, there's fights at Farmville Central's games, but they haven't involved anybody from Farmville Central. And it's the kids that get hurt. When that fight took place at Kinston, we were back there in the same space as Kinston's players and our players, and they just want to play.
Right.
We want to play.
And that's the encouraging part is that, as bad as I know Coach Tyndall and Kinston wants to beat Farmville Central, as bad as you guys want to beat them, you guys are all grouped up together in a spot trying to get the game played in that instance. I mean, and we haven't heard of anything with any players, doing anything. It's been just in the stands. And as you said, we just got to be better. I mean, everybody wants their team to win, but and I think it's part of society right now, but somehow we got to get through it, don't we?
Yeah, it's like people were cooped up for that year and a half, and then they come out and they go and start crazy.
I think you're right. All right, Coach. Well, look, best of luck to Farmville Central against St. Paul's coming up. Can't wait to see that one in the fourth round. And then wherever you guys end up playing on Saturday, if you win against St. Paul's, we'll certainly look forward to that. But always enjoy our conversations, and good luck the rest of the way in these playoffs. Larry Wilford from Farmville Central.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, appreciate it. That's Coach Wilford from the Jaguars. We'll take another commercial break right now. We'll come back. Perry Tyndall, the head coach of those Kinston Vikings. They're the number 2 seed in the 2A East bracket. They could play Farmville Central with a win, but they've got a tough one coming up with an undefeated Cummings team coming to town. Back with more on the Brian Bailey Show, kicking off your sports week after this.
Home comfort at huge savings during Bostic Sugg Furniture's President's Day Power Event. Now at Bostic Sugg, amp up your space that makes a powerful statement with hundreds of power sofas, sectionals, and recliners in stock. Experience the power of better sleep on a Serta Arctic mattress with 48 months special financing with no minimum purchase. And with any Arctic purchase, get 2 free pillows. Now at Bostic Sugg Furniture.
There's no better time to drive away with a quality pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Greenville Auto World. Greenville Auto World is your authorized rough country dealer. We specialize in lift and leveling kits along with custom wheel packages. Whether you're looking for ground clearance or enhancing the appearance of your vehicle, trust our team for your off-road experience. Greenville Auto World, 3840 South Charles Boulevard across from Hardee's at Bell's Fork, or online at greenvilleautoworld.net.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville, do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey cheesy crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A?
Obviously, but as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Woo! Papa John's just took their fresh, never frozen dough and hand stretched it New York style. So you can fold it or not. Hang on, I know, I fold it. Get a New York style pizza from Papa John's.
Hey, Pirate fans, the new Papa John's New York Style Pizza is an MVP move for game day or any day. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards. Papa John's, the official pizza of the ECU Pirates.
This is ECU Assistant Football Coach Roy Tesh, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community owned, community powered. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back on this Monday as we continue on talking high school basketball. Several teams have advanced to the fourth round and are one win away from a berth in the regional finals. One of those teams, the Kinston Vikings. Perry Tyndall is their fine coach, and Kinston takes on Burlington Cummings. Cummings is 22-0 on the season. Kinston 22-2. That's coming up tomorrow night at Kinston. Coach Tyndall joins us. Coach, first of all, congratulations on an outstanding year.
Thanks, Brian.
When you look at this matchup with Cummings, I mean, obviously we don't see anything about Burlington Cummings all year because there's so much to the west of us. But obviously, and Burlington sometimes plays in the west, I think, some of their schools. But you know, being so far away, how much tape do you have on them? What are you expecting?
Yeah, we've been able to get some game film on them and get our eyes on what they're doing, and then talk with you know, some of the teams that have seen them in the last week and a half. And they're a very, very balanced team. They've got two solid bigs that are football linemen, but that are very skilled as well on the basketball court. So, you know, you've got to be on your stuff with dealing with some of their post presence, and then they step out and shoot it too. And then they've got some really solid guard play as well. They got a freshman that's really good. Long, lanky, and then just some other guard play that's solid. So just a good balanced team that clearly has had a lot of success. They haven't lost a game, and we're going to have to play really good game to give ourselves a chance.
Is there added pressure when you coach at Kinston because of just the history of Kinston basketball? I mean, it's such a rich history and so many players that have advanced. My favorite all time was Jerry Stackhouse because when he was there, I was young. He came to us when we were at the ACC tournament one year, and the year that he won the MVP, the semifinals, he came up and did a little bit with us for TV. And I saw him this past year at Vanderbilt when East Carolina was playing Vandy in the baseball regionals, but just all of the great players through the years that have played there, the NBA players. You know, how much pressure is it on you?
Well, you know, I think it's more sometimes for the kids. You know, like there's just this expectation, and it's unfair. You know, I think everybody just expects you to be somewhere, expects you to win. You know, every time you step on the court. And so for the kids, that can, they hear the stuff, but, that comes with it too. It comes with the territory. Kinston, what the players have created here over, like you said, just for as long as we go back, and even before when Jerry was here, you had just some greats. That's what's so awesome about our program is that it does add some high expectations, but it's been created by the players, and it's something that when you come and play here, you know that you're going to have a big target on your back. Regardless of whatever is going on with our team, you're going to have a even bigger target on your chest just because it says Kinston.
Jeremy Dixon, one of 6 players to start every game since his freshman year. So talk about him a little bit, and then run us down the other 5. I was trying to run them down myself, and I know I'm going to leave somebody out. But first of all, who are the other 5?
Well, I think you're saying who played all 4 years from start to finish in high school.
Okay.
so not starting, but played varsity basketball as a freshman, and so Jeremy falls into that category. That's honestly, Brian, I don't even. Those are things that I haven't even really kept. Brian Hanks had told me about that on his show, but you go back and you think about Reggie and Brandon, and just a lot of those players that were big, and really Jimmy Sanchez was another one because we needed those guys right out of the gate, freshmen, and those are things that you aren't sure how it's going to play out, but Jeremy is a kid that came and got on board with us right out of the gate, skilled, and just been a great addition for us for 4 years.
And I know he's very important to your ball club. Well, what has to happen right for you guys to advance to the regional finals?
Tomorrow we're going to have to be really, really on our defensive assignments. We cannot gamble in moments that we aren't supposed to. We've got to, contain the ball. And we're going to have to be really solid on the inside. We got to guard their bigs, and we're going to have to rebound and really eliminate their second chance opportunities with those big boys inside. So really just defensively be on your assignments. We got to push the pace. We want to get going, and hopefully we live to play on Saturday.
And that was my next question. Have you heard anything from the North Carolina High School Athletic Association about where you would play? I just talked to Larry Wilford. He said he was expecting an email, hadn't gotten it. I sent an email today, haven't heard anything back from anybody. I'm just wondering if is it going to be the higher seed, or they're going to try to put you in a neutral site?
I heard some discussions about some high schools have been contacted about possibly hosting, but nothing definite. We haven't received anything definite, but I've heard that there are some high schools who've been contacted about hosting those regional assignments.
Oh, I know you guys haven't talked about it, but if you guys can win, and if Farmville Central wins, it'll be a battle of 1 and 2 in the 2A East bracket. You guys lost to Farmville Central 61-45 earlier this year. Do your players, do you think that's at least in the back of their mind that, hey, we want to get through this one to get another shot at Farmville Central?
Well, I hope not. I hope that I think that got us earlier in the season, the game before we played them. I think our guys had kind of started looking to the Martin Luther King weekend matchup, and you just can't do that. You there's no guarantees in this. I've said a lot of times, it's not like the NBA where it's one night anything can happen, and you've got to be locked in the moment. You can't be looking ahead. You can't be thinking about. I'm not sure Larry would say the same thing. He's got a St. Paul team ahead of him, and really we've got to control the things we can control, and right now the only thing that is ahead of us is coming, and we've got to make sure we're ready for that.
And if you have a team that's undefeated like that this late in the year, because a lot of teams play a lot of different teams, Farmville Central going to the John Wall, you guys trying to play Farmville Central, trying to make, those games are the games that make you better as a team. And so Cummings comes to town 22-0. They're used to winning, and I don't think it matters to them that they're playing on the road, does it?
No, I don't think so. I think it is a little bit unfamiliar for them because they've been at home. And so, that's a trip, but at the end of the day, players are going to play. They're not going to look for some excuse. But I mean, we love the fact that we're at home. But Cummings is going to you get to this point, and you don't even think about those things. That then you're going to go out there and you're just going to play basketball. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Wins for Kinston over West Bladen, Washington, and South Granville so far in the playoffs. Your toughest test was with Washington, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we, Coach Watt did a good job. He's got a very young team, and we were kind of jumped on them, and they battled back, and so good test. Really going into the South Granville game, and honestly, in some ways, you could you could say Cummings is a little bit more of a just a seasoned version of Washington with some bigger size on the inside, but just some guys who are a little bit older, been around a little bit, other than the freshmen they have.
Perry Tyndall, the coach at the Kinston High School, the Kinston Vikings taking on Cummings in their 4th-round matchup coming up tomorrow night. Coach, thanks so much for your time. We certainly appreciate it. Best of luck to those Kinston Vikings, and I'm really selfishly looking forward to a Kinston-Farmville Central matchup in the regional finals, but both teams have to take care of business first, so best of luck against Cummings coming up.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Perry Tyndall, the head coach of the Kinston Vikings. We'll take a final time out, then we'll wrap up this edition of the Brian Bailey Show for you coming up right after this.
Safety comes first at Greenville Utilities. Did you know that by itself, natural gas is completely odorless? As a safety precaution, a chemical is added to the gas that gives it a distinctive and unpleasant odor. This allows you to detect the slightest amount of natural gas both indoors and outdoors. If you smell a strong odor of natural gas in or near your home, you should immediately call Greenville Utilities. GUC maintains staff around the clock in order to provide immediate response to emergencies such as natural gas leaks. You can count on GUC to keep safety job number one.
It's bow time. Ever taste something so good you just get hooked? Like the Bojangler, the only fish sandwich splashed with Bo's famous seasoning. So we're having a fish fry, Bojangle style, spicing up premium fish fillets with the good stuff and slathering them with melty cheese and tangy tartar sauce to hook your taste buds with just one bite. Reel in a Bojangler today, only at Bojangles, and it's bow time.
If you suffer from allergies, asthma, or any other sinus problems, professional cleaning of your air ducts can help. Carolina Quality Air uses a sanitizer that kills mold in your ductwork and over 100 other viruses, including the coronavirus. And if you get your house ductwork cleaned now, you'll receive a free dryer vent cleaning valued at $150. Carolina Quality Air, family owned and operated right here in Winterville, and the first certified duct cleaning company in Eastern North Carolina. Visit them online today at carolinaqualityair.com.
Hey Greenville, Bagel Man here with some exciting news. We are now open for dinner. This is the first time ever for dinner in our 33 years. Our entire menu is available, plus some new sandwiches like the roast beef cheddar, the Italian sub, and the meatball parm. You can also get French fries and home fries as a side for any of your sandwiches. Order online for pickup or delivery, and don't forget about our great catering. We're available 7 days a week. We can deliver or you can pick it up. Bagel Man here.
University PC Care has been the Pirate Nation's go-to IT expert since 2006. They thank you for your continued support and trust during these trying times. Many services can be done remotely and free pickup and delivery is available. As a Dell business partner and Apple authorized service provider, you can count on University PC Care for all your personal and business tech support needs. To make a remote appointment or to bring in your device for service at their Greenville or New Bern locations, call 558-1280 or go online at universitypccare.com.
I'm Sam Jones, and for more than 3 generations, my folks have kept the fires burning for Eastern North Carolina Whole Hog Barbecue. At Sam Jones, you'll find our smokehouse pumping out wood-fired meats, cooked fresh every single day. There are no freezers at our place. Everything, and we mean everything, is made fresh daily, including our sides, sweets, and sauces. Stop in and see us, and I bet you'll be able to taste our passion in just one bite. At Sam Jones Barbecue, you'll find plenty of smoke, but no mirrors.
Hey everybody, this is David Glenn, and you're listening to my favorite station in Eastern North Carolina, Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, providing reliable utility solutions to the Greenville region since 1905. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show as we wrap up this edition of The Brian Bailey Show. 2 big high school basketball games in the 4th round coming up tomorrow night. Farmville Central's Jaguars, they're at home coming up tomorrow night, taking on St. Paul's. Kinston also will be at home, and they're taking on undefeated Burlington Cummings. We do not know the schedule for Saturday Saturday. Saturday is the date for the regional finals, but we'll wait and hear from the North Carolina High School Athletic Association probably on Wednesday now. They'll probably get through the fourth round and then go from there. So we will have some of that information for you later on this week with our Clip Brock. We'll check in with him and do that. All right, I want to thank all of our guests today. We had a busy show. Robert Duck, the fine girls coach at South Central High School. Also want to thank Rob Maloney at DH Conley. Back to South Central, we went for Chris Cherry, Larry Wilford, the head coach of Farmville Central, and Perry Tyndall, the head coach of the Kinston Vikings. If Kinston wins and Farmville Central wins, they will play in that regional finale, and that will certainly draw a crowd. We'll see you back here next week on The Brian Bailey Show.
This has been The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, and also brought to you by
Angus Grill, Bostic Sugg Furniture, Bojangles, East Coast Grading, Papa John's, The Gaffigan Agency, Pepsi, Sear Chop House, Taft and Hagler, Tiebreakers, and Greenville Auto World.
Join us